Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a tip video. You guys asked for a beginner-based video, and that's exactly what this is going to be for all you beginners out there that are just struggling to play the game or just want to get better in general. And if you are a beginner, hopefully you at least find value, or if not, go down to the comments and comment something that I did not state here that could also be a huge thing for newer players. So before we get into the first tip, I want you guys to know if you are a newer player, just keep on the grind. That is the main thing here with being a new player. This game is 5 years old. You're not just going to pick it up and be better than everyone. Just think how some of the players you are playing have played this game for literally 5 full years. So whenever you're doing bad, just don't feel so bad about yourself. So no excuses, let's get better today. And obviously it wouldn't be a good start of the video if I wasn't going to talk about aim. Your aim in this game is completely dependent on what system you play on. You know, if you play on console, you have the controller, of course, but if you're on PC, you have the mouse and keyboard. So for your mouse and keyboard players, obviously the sensitivity matters, but not as much as console. Console's a little bit more difficult. You don't have that aim assist that you do have in basically every other first-person shooter. So obviously the first thing to do is just try to find a sensitivity you're comfortable with. Don't be overshooting, don't be undershooting. If you're doing either of those, just try to find the middle ground to the point where you're flicking onto people. And a great way to practice this is literally to just look at a wall and aim for something. And if you over flick it, then lower it down. If you under flick it, raise it up. Just do that until you hit your target every single time. But that's the easy part. I'm just going to tell you right now, never copy anyone's sensitivity. That is just an endless loop of comparing yourself to someone. If you copy a pro player's sensitivity, you're not going to have a great outcome. You're going to feel pretty bad about yourself. So just do you. And once you have that setting that you are really in love with, then you need to train with that setting. And I know that sounds funny, train, but I mean, just play a lot of hours with those same settings. Don't be switching them around or anything. And if you literally want to take train to the next level, if you are on PC, just get one of those aim trainers and work on it. But the biggest thing with your aim is your crosshair placement. And that's what the beginners need to know. You need to always have your crosshair in the center of your screen at a head height. So you never want to be running looking downwards. That's something I see a lot in the lower ranks whenever I'm doing my coaching series. So obviously just try to always have that center dot on your screen always locked onto where head height is. I've done plenty of tips on crosshair placement, so if you want to look back videos, you can find that. But I just thought I would be doing wrong if I didn't include it in this one as well. So the second most important thing after learning how to aim in and shoot, obviously, is map knowledge. So just saying map knowledge, that's pretty broad, but we got to go deeper into that. So there's two really bases of map knowledge that I would like to learn first. Anytime you're going into a map, you got to learn, first of all, just the basic layout. That's the easiest thing to learn. You just got to walk through it. You just got to play it a bunch. And all that means is you got to know where the staircases lead to, where the rooms lead to, etc. And that could literally just be learned just by going in a custom match and walking around the game. I'll show you guys a little bit later in the next segment here of how I like to learn new maps. But the second most important thing about map knowledge is not just the map knowledge, you got to know the callouts too. While we do have the new ping 2.0 system where the ping kind of bails the newer players out of actually having to make callouts, it's still definitely a must to know what everything is called. Every little part of the map has its own callout. So the best place to start off your callout knowledge is just use the game callouts. Look at the bottom of your screen. It's going to have a name of where you're at. For the most part, if you use those callouts, most people will know what you're talking about. Some callouts aren't actually even related to the callout that the game calls it, but still you'll start getting the general idea just by hearing other people call out. And you're going to need to know what these places are called eventually. Maybe not in the lower ranks, but as you get up in ranks, people use callouts instead of the ping 2.0, I promise. Before you guys that are struggling, don't know every single map, don't know the best ways to attack every single map, I'm going to tell you the two easiest ways as a defender and an attacker. So obviously you have the A site and the B site as an attacker that you are going against. So the worst thing to do as a beginner player is go from the opposite side of the map, spawn on the opposite side of the map, and then try to push through the entire building to get to the site. You aren't ready for that. You're not ready to roam clear yet. You probably don't even know what roam clearing is. So you're going to want to put direct pressure on the site. That's the easiest way to do it for solo queuers and new players. So just always do that whenever you are an attacker and you don't know everything about the map. But as a defender, you want to do the same exact thing, but obviously you want to stay on the site. You don't want to go too far away from the site because you don't know the best rotations. You don't know how to get behind people. You don't know how to flank people. And that's because another part of map knowledge is knowing where people push from a lot. And you'll get the hang of it as you play. But while you're starting off as a beginner, you're going to want to just be playing as an anchor role. You're going to want to play 3-speed operators, or 1-speed operators rather, and 3 armor operators. Obviously, you could do whatever you want. You can roam across the map. But if you are a new player, player, I highly recommend staying on site. Learn how to use deployable shields really well. Just learn that whole basis of the game, because you're going to take that all the way with you if you choose to continue to play this game for years on years. You're always going to be able to roam or anchor, and you need to learn both roles eventually, so it's good to learn the anchoring role now while you don't know that much about the map, and it's great to learn the roaming role once you do know a little bit more about the maps. Now, to tie those two things together, we have our warm-up. We always want to do a little bit of a warm-up, and all that basically means just going into a T-hunt, or it's now under training grounds now. It's basically where you just fight bots. So this is good for the previous two things that we just stated, you know, aim and map knowledge. What I like to do is I like to go to my preference setting, matchmaking preference settings, and I could turn on every ranked map. So to do that, just go to the matchmaking settings and turn off all of the casual maps. You don't want to learn those maps. There's like 30 maps in the game. You just want to learn the ranked maps because those are the most competitive maps. So if you don't know what those are, just go search them up on Google or anything along those lines. And if you do those enough, you're going to get the layout of the map really quick. And to make things even harder, you can turn it on defuse the bomb. That is an option with the terrorist hunt, is the defusal. What this is going to do is you're going to have to basically eliminate 50 people to even win the game, and you have to plant the 2 bombs. So while you're learning the map knowledge, you're also getting better aim. Always just focus on the crosshair placement when you're doing a warm-up, and don't hop into a game until you complete the warm-up completely, even a few times maybe. But eventually, say you play this game for a month, you play every single map on these T-hunts for, I don't know, 30, 40 times, you're going to learn the map a lot quicker than just playing casual matches, and maybe just getting the one map once a day. So if you take anything from this, always do the warm-up. That is the most important thing of the day whenever you're hopping on. It's not only just aim, it's not only map knowledge, it's also kind of game sense in a sense. You're going to learn kind of how the sound system works in Siege. It's a little bit wonky, so you got to learn like the directional sound. Now, it's never going to be perfect because this game just has a lot of messed up sounds at the moment, but you could at least get the general gist of it. And the next tip is what I like to call the cycles of a round, or the phases of a round. Every player is going to learn these eventually. It's just hopefully you can get a head start by this. Now, if you follow a general guideline to your own attacking or defending, you're not going to find yourself being too rushed or too slow. Now, this is the big thing with attacking. You know, there's either people that rush or they wait till the last 10 seconds to get into sight. Either of those are a terrible option. First and foremost, as a prep stage, we don't really have to talk about that. That's where you're droning and or you're just setting up the site, depending on if you're attacking or defending. That doesn't really matter too much. But the second part here of the prep phase is you got to plan on where you're going to come through as an attacker or where you're going to be setting up as a defender. Either way, you got to know before the round. You can't just be running around frantically with the round starting. So this first minute of the round needs to be droning and trying to get a way into sight. And as a defender, you're trying to find a way to know where they're entering from. So cameras is a good option, or if there's just an exterior wall that they're trying to attack, such as a site with a garage. Usually people just attack from the garage and don't even have to enter through the building. But once you know where they're coming from, that really helps your defense. You can rotate over to where they are coming from and easily get a few picks. But that's all that first half of the map is even for. Now, once you're there, you got to start making your move towards the objective, or you have to assume that they're going to start making their way towards the objective, attacker or defense. Now, if you just don't even play the clock at all, you're going to find an issue, and this issue is going to be you're going to be rushing into sight when you really don't need to at like 2 minutes left without making an actual attack, or you're going to find yourself at 15 seconds where you have to rush into sight because you didn't look at the clock. So this game sense thing is really important, and you always need to have that timer in your head that's telling you to either go or stay. And as a defender, you're just trying to pick these players off one by one. If you get yourself in like a 4v2, it's hard to lose those rounds. It's very improbable that you lose those rounds. All you need to do is capitalize on the dumber players. You're the smarter player, don't be the dumb one. And last thing is get that mindset out of your head of my teammates, right? Don't even talk about your teammates. Just think about how you can prove yourself instead of crying about how bad your teammates are. It's not going to help you at all. It's an issue I see a lot within the community, and especially even in the comment sections of most of these, you know. This is something that I get so much. How do I improve my rank? My teammates are bad. And I'm like, you know, people solo queue to diamond every single season. Their teammates are the same teammates. So if they could do it, you could do it. Think of yourself as the problem, and that will change your mindset completely, and you will become what you want to become. That's how I like to look at it. You know, I'm like plat 2, plat 1. Usually I think I could solo queue to plat 2 every single season for the rest of this game's existence. But the reason I'm not any higher is because of myself. Now, while yes, if I was with a good 5 stack, I'd probably be able to push diamond, but I could also do it solo if I was good enough, but I'm not good enough. That's how I like to look at it. So anyways, that's just a phony excuse. Never think of it like that. Work about your own consistency. And yes, you might be put into 1v3 situations every single time, but say you just win one of those. Maybe your team wins if you do win one of those. While yeah, they put you in a bad position, you always have the choice to get out of that position and help your team team actually win. So hopefully that helps you newer players out. As a complete noob, hopefully you could take those gameplay tips, but I tried to mix some gameplay and some mindset tips as well. So take both of those into consideration. You're going to take them with you all the way to the higher ranks if you choose to continue to play this game. I highly encourage you to continue to play this game. It's a fun game, especially as you get better. So I hope you enjoyed. Have a fantastic day. See you in the next one. Peace out.